Welcome to the Gulenko Business and Recruitment Show. I record these while walking and completely unscripted. Today's show is about what makes a good recruiter and what are the two types of people that are usually attracted to recruitment. Type number one, the money-hungry recruiter or money-hungry person in general. When I started programming, I accidentally learned about headhunting fees for software engineers. And my reaction was very similar to Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street when he enters the penny stock trading firm and asks the boss there in this shack, hey, so if the commission on these are 50%. So if I sell $10,000 worth of this penny stock, I get $5,000. And the reply is yes. And I personally will give you a B job, B star 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 job, right? Everybody remembers this scene. So basically, it was very similar for me when I came out of university, basically with no money left. I literally had, I think, 500 euros when I moved to Switzerland from Germany. And yeah, started my career in programming. And in parallel, I started bootstrapping my recruitment agency, which is now 10 years old. Personally, obviously, I met many recruiters who work in agency or have their own agencies. These are the people that usually are motivated by money. And if not taken to the extreme, this is a healthy thing. People want to eat, provide for the families, making money, nothing bad or weird about it. Talking about extremes, I once met a person on a Python conference who previously was working in an agency and now became a Python programmer. This is like 2016. You can find my EuroPython talk on recruitment actually on YouTube also. And this was my first big presentation and yeah, talk, I think in front of several hundreds of people. And it was, yeah, quite a big thing for me. But on the networking, I met this one guy and he told me, well, he worked in a recruitment firm, let's say, yeah, Belgium, France, Benelux, one of these countries. And the recruitment agency owner would invite everybody for certain substances that are white and start with a K and are very expensive, and women that are, you know, doing certain services for money also. And this would be like a regular event, and all the recruiters would be invited to that. And I'm like, wow, this really is like Wolf of Wall Street. And yeah, back then I thought this is a good idea to really like, you know, have not 500 euros in savings, but like more than that. And yeah, this was like one story about extreme, you know, and this like agency owner would like invite people and like, you know, hey, like let's, you know, do this also with me, this weird parties with the substance starting with K and women who are like there because they are paid extremely well doing certain services. And yeah, so you would tell me about this, and I'm like, yeah, sounds very weird, but obviously, you know, these companies are doing well. And yeah, he left recruitment obviously for the stress and like just find people, match them to jobs, make commissions, live off of that, try to not annoy anybody too much or do unethical stuff. And these agencies are the majority of, you know, the personalities here are just, you know, normal, regular people that just, you know, like sales essentially, because recruitment is essentially about double sales. So you sell people and you sell also jobs. And then the people that you represent, obviously they have their own opinion. They make their own decision, right? Like a car salesman doesn't have this problem. Like he has a car to sell and, you know, the car will not on its own just run away and do something else or change their mind. So basically you have to be in extreme good touch with your candidate and with your clients and understand what is going on at each moment in time. And you do this like not with one person, but like with 50 at the same time. Therefore, the stress level is quite high because you have to keep all of this in memory, and all the tools in recruitment that you use, they are just crutches, right? I believe nowadays you have more than enough recruitment agencies that just literally use a phone, an email, and an Excel sheet, and they do better than the recruitment agent, workers in like with like all the tools money can buy, just because this job is really about, as sleazy as it sounds, it's really about making connections with people and having them trust you. Like the clients, they have to trust you to like, okay, you will not send us like 10 resumes that are a time waste to even look at. Like this is the baseline. Yeah, so if you are capable of sending resumes that are like worth looking at, you are already like 90, better than 90%. So top 10% of recruiters, yeah. The candidates even have maybe a greater risk because they are sharing personal info resumes with you and trust you to not screw it up. There's like millions of ways to screw it up, right? To claim you are representing the candidate, but you're not, to like send them around to companies, although they didn't give you permission for that, which like immediately will bite you like on, week number 2, because the client will say, hey, this candidate just applied here, what are you doing? And then, so basically these kind of outlier behavior patterns we never did in 10 years of recruitment was never needed, because you just like do slow work, talk to the candidates, talk to the clients, discuss this internally, and then do the right matches. And that's basically it. So the motivation in our agency, Gulenko Recruitment, is making money. As simple as that. Now I come to the second category of recruiters that are much more problematic. Because these people, they are usually like, oh, I want to help people and I like talking to people. Therefore, I'm probably a good recruiter. And we are hiring right now for like our internal team. And if that's the motivation, it usually is, you know, quite problematic, because these people, I mean, they would, do just confused things, right? Because they're motivated, like they are unhappy with themselves. They like, this sometimes psychologists also have this, right? They're like, very confused in their head. So they're like, oh yes, to find out about myself, I will study psychology. I mean, nothing against psychologists, and this definitely doesn't apply to like all of them or something like that. Please do not like get this wrong. Just there is a certain tendency for people to pick such jobs. It's just as well like there's a tendency for people who don't like, I don't know, talking to people. They will just like, get a job as a radiologist, where you sit in the corner, you get like pictures from like X-rays or MRIs or whatever it is, and then you like look at it and say yes, like something is there, something is not there. So you basically don't talk to anybody. You just give like a report. Maybe you talk to a doctor like once a week or something. I mean, this is what I heard. Maybe it's not true. I don't know. But you get the point. It's like certain personalities are drawn towards certain jobs, and I believe people that are like, I want to help humanity, what ends up is always they destroy humanity, right? This is how we had it in human history, and on a personal, individual level, it's not very different. So this is why there is this, meme about the evil HR lady, or in the Dilbert comic, there is this cat, which is basically the devil on planet Earth. Yeah, the Dilbert's cat, which is the HR director. Yeah, so in recruitment, it's very in agency recruitment, I believe it's less the case, because these people don't tend to survive, because recruitment agency jobs are commission driven. So if you don't perform and give the output, you basically let go very fast. Whereas in-house recruiters, they don't have this pressure, and they sometimes are given also other tasks that look similar but are not, like uh, defining the company culture, or like organizing team events. This is not recruitment. Recruitment is sales, and organizing a team event is not sales. It's like a very important and super duper activity also, but it's not like, the quality, like it doesn't require recruitment qualities. So what are recruitment qualities? These are like basically two big uh, categories of, yeah, the characteristics. The first one is okay to be doing like monotonous tasks, like writing to a lot of people and saying the same thing like a million times without getting too much pissed off. And still, ideally, staying like super polite. I'm, for example, super bad at that, right? I tend to like, after 10 years, to be much too much direct and blunt. And in a market that is extremely asking for our services, like in a bull market, in stock market terms, that doesn't matter, right? Like people are like, whatever, like just, deliver. But now, for example, I notice if I'm like a little bit unpolite with clients, they would already like, oh, go away. So yeah, this is the first characteristic, like group of settings, group of like every like skill that has to do with like repetitive tasks and doing them correctly and doing them diligently. The equivalent in programming would be like having proper variable names, doing testing, doing the process exactly like it is defined, not like inventing or anything new for no reason or doing stupid shortcuts that will bite you later. So this is the first like type of activity. The second type of activity is thinking on your feet and producing creative approaches and deciding on the like in the moment what is correct to do, right? So that will require creativity, experience, some level of intelligence and emotional intelligence, and basically like being able to make quick decisions that are correct, right? For example, recently we had a situation where the client, like two candidates from us, one for me, total favorite, everything is perfect, talks to us like, no, not a problematic person. And the other one, quite a bit, right? Like asks like way too, like just inappropriate behavior that takes many forms. I can't like put this now in a 5 minute audio show. So just like imagine you have the gut feel this person is not good, and you have like this person proved it like 10 times. And the client, because they are like, they're doing their own assessment, they're like, okay, both people, they're like, about equal, but the second person actually like a little bit they did better on this kind of like technical thing, so we take them. And I'm like, okay, like what do I do now? Because they sent me this written, right? They didn't call me, they didn't, engage. Just, this is the decision. So what do I do? Like, I have 400,000 other things to do. Like, I bet you, like 9 out of 10 people, they would just, well, I guess, yeah, that's whatever. I'll get my commission, right? So, like, doesn't matter if like who gets the job. And I mean, they have their processes, so I'm not gonna intervene here. They might like not like it. So yeah, that's basically could work as well, right? We never know. But me, after 10 years, I just had the gut feel, I really need to like do work now and explain to them. And if after my explanation they are still like thinking they are correct, they should do what they want, and the person might, the bad person might leave after 2 months, and then we make no commission. So So I called them, explained the situation. Luckily, on the other end, we had also a very, very competent recruiter in-house just hired. So they wanted to prove their, like that they are like worth their money. And they're like, I see. Yeah, that's all good points what you're bringing. So we are really on the edge. And I really made the like very clear recommendation: do not hire this first person, like offer it to the second. Because like what we did was they mailed it to me, right? And I had to present to the candidate. So I was like, okay, I did that, but like I didn't like, I called the candidate and explained. So this would be the compensation, like actually both of them. And because the client told me, okay, the compensation for both would have been equal, but we probably will extend to the first one and the second if like the first one rejects, blah, blah, blah. So how I found out like the last thing that convinced me that I should like recommend my choice, not hire the bad person that was bad to us, and hire the person that was like very friendly to us, because we are essentially like the receptionist, right? It's like you have this big company, and then like physically people would come, and some of them would treat the receptionist or the cleaning person like shit, right? And others would be like super polite. So we are now the cleaning person, yeah? Okay. That's like, it's like, it doesn't matter how you treat them, right? Like nobody cares. Yeah, well, now it comes back to you. So yeah, so how I did that, I extended like the possibility of a job offer to both of them. And the bad person, quote unquote, was like, I don't know, I would have to think like for 2 months, blah, 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 blah. And the second person was like, oh, really? Yeah, that's like less money than what I'm making now. But I understand this is like a startup and they have this cool task, blah, 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 blah. I'll sign for sure. So, I mean, yeah, so I came with my summary to the internal recruiter of this client with exactly the summary, as objective as I could put it, because you can't just call people and say, this person is bad, this person is good. They'll say, okay, and maybe you're bad. Like, I don't know. But if I like tell, okay, like I told about the compensation package to both candidates that this would be potentially what is offered without, just like, okay, you get the job, right? Why should I tell that? So basically, the one reacted like, yes, I have to sleep on it 1 million times, and I haven't actually canceled my job right now. And yes, you know, uh, don't bother me now. It's just ridiculous. And the second one was like, oh, really? This would be my dream job. I really can contribute to by doing this and this because I also worked in blah, 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 blah. And then the internal recruiter was like, I gotcha. And then next day, they did a fantastic job because they had now to tell it also to management. And the question is, okay, how do I like now influence this? I can't, right? Because my touch point is my touch point. I can't now call them. So, okay. So luckily, we had a competent internal collaborator and everything worked out fine. The new hire is there now for 6 months, happy, blah, blah, blah. And the bad in the quote unquote potential hire, they still have not found a job, which tells us other companies share probably my opinion because, if you're like jobless for 6 months plus, sure, the market is not good, but there's also like some message about you in this, long jobless period, unfortunately. So what does it tell you about the second quality, creativity and thinking on the spot, decide not only thinking on the spot, but actually doing the action, right? You can't just like sit there and like, oh, like I can also now, so like this is why I think like, yeah, good salespeople and so on, they must be paid with like the commission in mind because then they really like think, right? Because in such a situation, you can't just like, I get my base salary and now like I have to call and bother people. That's like, man, that's effort. If you think like that, you'll never do such an action, you know, because in this moment you're like, yeah, I'm lazy, right? This is the majority of people, including me. Like I'm very lazy, but like I know uh, when like really things are at stake. And this was the situation that I just described, could have bitten us a lot. So again, two characteristics of good recruiters. I really, really want to make money. First one. Second one, I really, really want to help people. Not so much of equality. Um, and second of all, the good characteristics of people is of recruiters is like being able to do monotonous tasks and not getting too pissed about it, but also being super creative in the moment, right? This would be my summary, and we speak very soon. Thank you, and have a good rest of the day.